Stop. Before you assume God is far, listen carefully. If you feel like you miss God, this message is not here to shame you. It is here to help you breathe again. Because missing God does not mean you lost Him. It means something inside you is tired, wounded, or overwhelmed. And more people feel this way than they admit. You didn't stop believing. You didn't walk away from faith. You still pray. You still hope. You still say, Amen. But God feels quiet, distant, hard to sense. And in the silence, a question starts forming in your heart. Why do I feel like I miss God when I never left Him? That question alone tells me something important about you. You still care. Many people leave God loudly, but you are here quietly searching. That is not rebellion, that is hunger. Let's clear something up right now. Feeling far from God does not mean God is far from you. God's presence is not measured by emotion. His closeness is not determined by how inspired you feel. If God only stayed when you felt Him, He would leave every time you were tired. And He doesn't do that. Sometimes we feel like we miss God because we confuse spiritual silence with spiritual absence. But silence is not abandonment. Think about this. There are moments in life when the room is quiet, not because someone left, but because something serious is happening. God is often quiet when He is doing deep work. So what do you do when you feel like you miss God? The first thing is this: stop blaming yourself. Many believers immediately assume, I must have done something wrong. I didn't pray enough. I didn't read my Bible enough. I must be disappointing God. But guilt is not the voice of God. Conviction brings clarity. Guilt brings shame. God does not withdraw His presence to punish you. He is not offended by your humanity. Sometimes you feel like you miss God because life has taken more from you than you had time to recover from. Pain can make God feel distant. Grief can make God feel quiet. Disappointment can numb spiritual sensitivity. You didn't lose God. You've been carrying too much. The second thing to do when you feel like you miss God is this: be honest, not impressive. God does not need polished prayers. He responds to real ones. You don't have to sound strong. You don't have to explain everything well. You can simply say, God, I don't feel you. God, I'm tired. God, I don't understand this season. Honesty is not unbelief. It is the language of intimacy. Many people drift from God not because they are bad, but because they are pretending. God cannot heal what you keep hiding. The third thing to do is this: stop chasing the feeling of God. This is important. God is not a feeling. He is a presence. Feelings come and go. God remains. If your faith is built on emotion, it will collapse in seasons of silence. But if your faith is built on trust, it will survive dryness. You don't lose God because you don't feel Him. You lose peace when you think feelings define faith. Some of the strongest believers in history walked through long seasons where God felt quiet. They didn't quit. They didn't run. They stayed. And staying is powerful. The fourth thing to do when you feel like you miss God is this: rest your soul. Sometimes you don't miss God. You miss rest. You are spiritually tired, emotionally drained, mentally overwhelmed, and exhaustion dulls sensitivity. God never asked you to be strong all the time. Jesus never said, come to me when you're perfect. He said, come to me when you are weary. God is not asking you to do more. He is inviting you to rest in Him. Another truth many don't like to hear. Sometimes God feels distant because He is changing how you relate to Him. Early faith is emotional. Mature faith is rooted. God moves you from excitement to endurance feelings, to faith needing signs, to trusting His word. The transition feels uncomfortable, but it is growth. The fifth thing to do when you feel like you miss God is this: be still, not scrolling, not forcing prayer, not filling silence with noise. Stillness is uncomfortable for wounded people because silence makes us feel what we've been avoiding. But God often speaks in stillness, not loudly, not dramatically, but gently, and you can't hear a gentle voice in a noisy soul. Another reason you may feel like you miss God: you've been disappointed. You prayed, you waited, you trusted, and it didn't happen the way you hoped. Disappointment can quietly build a wall between you and God, not because you don't love Him, but because you're protecting your heart. God sees that wall, and He is patient with you. Let me tell you something very important. God is not scared of your disappointment. He can handle your questions. He can handle your confusion. He can handle your silence. What He wants most is for you to stay. Stay in prayer, even short prayers. Stay in faith, even quiet faith. Stay connected, even when it feels dry. Faith that stays in silence is deep. If you feel like you miss God, hear this clearly. God has not moved. God has not left. God has not forgotten you. He is closer than your breath, closer than your fear, closer than your doubt. Even now, this season will not last forever. The joy will return, the clarity will come, the warmth will come back. But until then, be gentle with yourself, be honest with God, stay faithful, even quietly. You are not losing faith. You are learning to trust without feeling. And that kind of faith is powerful. If this message described your season, you are not alone. This channel exists for moments like this. Subscribe for more messages that heal, guide, and restore. Stay connected. Clarity is coming. And if you are choosing to stay with God even in silence, type Amen and let it be your declaration. Amen.